Everything in life is energy. It's not just a philosophy, it's science. Every thought, emotion, and action carries a vibrational frequency, sending signals into the world that determine what we attract and what we repel. When it comes to human relationships, this principle operates with absolute precision. Men, whether consciously or subconsciously, respond to energy before anything else. It is not just the words spoken, but the vibration behind them. When a woman embodies confidence, self-assurance, and peace, she naturally draws attention. When she radiates neediness, insecurity, or fear, she creates an invisible wall that repels the very thing she desires. The truth is, attraction is never about trying to be liked or proving one's worth. It is about being in alignment. A woman who constantly seeks approval, who needs external validation to feel complete, unknowingly transmits an energy of lack, and lack always leads to rejection. This is why desperation never works. It shifts the power dynamic in a way that disrupts natural polarity. Instead of being a source of inspiration, she becomes an energy that drains. And men by nature are not drawn to what depletes them. They are drawn to what expands them. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone walk into a room, say nothing, and yet they capture attention effortlessly? It is not because of what they wear or how they look. It is their energy. People feel confidence before they see it. They sense certainty before they hear it. And this is what creates real magnetism. It is not the need to be chosen, but the quiet understanding that you are already whole. When a woman carries this knowing, she doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't beg, she receives. On the other hand, when energy is low, when thoughts are rooted in fear, self-doubt, or the belief that love must be earned through effort, everything becomes forced. A man may not be able to articulate why, but he feels it. He feels the weight of expectation, the pressure to fill an emotional void, the unspoken demand for constant reassurance. And instinctively, he pulls away. Not because he doesn't want love, but because love should never feel like a burden. Attraction is effortless when it is natural. The most powerful force in the universe is flow, the state of being where nothing is forced, nothing is chased, and everything is allowed to unfold in its perfect timing. This is the essence of magnetism. It is the knowing that you are enough. The moment this understanding becomes a way of being, the energy shifts. Instead of seeking love, you radiate love. Instead of fearing loss, you trust in abundance, and that is when everything changes. Men do not reject beauty, kindness, or love. They reject misaligned energy. They step away from what feels heavy, from what drains, from what pulls them into an emotional obligation rather than an inspired connection. But when a woman elevates her energy, when she steps into a space of inner peace and self-certainty, she no longer needs to convince anyone of her worth. She simply is. And that is the most attractive state of all. Desperation is not just a feeling, it's an energy. It is the silent force that repels rather than attracts, that creates resistance instead of connection. When a woman operates from a place of neediness, when she seeks constant reassurance, validation, or attention, she unknowingly sends out a signal that says, I am not enough on my own. And that energy is felt before a single word is spoken. And men are wired to be drawn to confidence, to self-assuredness, to a presence that is secure in itself. But when a woman chases, when she gives too much too soon, when she clings to a relationship as if it defines her worth, she shifts the balance. Instead of being an equal, she places herself in a position of seeking approval, and nothing is more unattractive than the energy of someone trying too hard to be chosen. Attraction cannot be forced. The more one tries to hold on to something, the faster it slips away. It's like grasping sand. Tighten your grip and it falls through your fingers. Men sense desperation on an instinctual level. It's not about words or actions alone. It's about the unspoken energy behind them. When someone is too available, when they prioritize another person's needs over their own, It doesn't create closeness, it creates imbalance. And imbalance leads to rejection, not because the woman isn't good enough, but because energy that comes from lack never sustains a deep, lasting connection. A relationship built on need rather than alignment becomes exhausting. Love should feel like a choice, not an obligation. Think about the most magnetic people you've met. They don't chase, they attract. They don't beg for attention, they command it effortlessly. And the reason is simple. They do not operate from scarcity. They do not act as though love is something they must earn or hold on to for dear life. They understand that they are already complete. And from that space, they allow relationships to form naturally. This is the energy that keeps a man intrigued, the energy that keeps him engaged without force. But when a woman leans into desperation, she loses herself. She makes the other person her focus instead of building her own foundation. And that is why men pull away, not because they don't want love, but because they are not meant to be the source of another person's sense of self. The healthiest, strongest relationships are built between two whole individuals, not one person trying to complete the other. The moment the energy shifts from chasing to receiving, from proving to simply being, everything changes. Desperation pushes away, but self-assuredness draws in. The key is understanding that love flows to those who are already at peace with themselves. The less one tries to force an outcome, the more naturally it unfolds. When a woman embodies this, she no longer needs to fight for a man's attention, because the right man will recognize her value without her having to convince him. Control is the silent force that disrupts the natural flow of attraction. When someone tries to dictate the course of a relationship, micromanage another person's actions, or force a connection to move at a certain pace, it creates resistance instead of closeness. Love cannot thrive in an environment where one person is constantly trying to mold the other into their expectations. The moment a man feels controlled, he begins to pull away, not because he doesn't care, but because control suffocates the space where genuine attraction and connection grow. Men are not drawn to obligation, they are drawn to inspiration. The difference is subtle but powerful. Obligation feels heavy. It carries an unspoken pressure, an expectation to act, speak, or be a certain way. It removes the freedom of choice and replaces it with a sense of duty. And duty, when it comes to relationships, kills passion. On the other hand, inspiration is light, effortless, and natural. A man stays where he feels uplifted, where he feels drawn in rather than dragged in. Control often comes from fear, the fear of losing, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of uncertainty. But fear-based energy never creates lasting attraction. It only breeds distance. When someone feels the need to dictate how often a person calls, what they do, or who they interact with, it is not love. It is insecurity seeking reassurance. And reassurance, when demanded rather than given freely, loses its meaning. The more a person tries to force security, the more unstable the relationship becomes. Traction is not about holding someone tightly, but about allowing them the space to choose you every day. A woman who trusts herself, who knows her worth, does not need to control the pace of a relationship or the actions of a man. She understands that what is meant for her will align naturally. She does not need to monitor his every move or seek constant validation, because she knows that true connection is built on freedom, not restriction. Think about the most magnetic relationships, the ones that feel effortless, the ones that thrive without force. They exist because both people feel free to be themselves. They are not walking on eggshells, fearing that one wrong move will lead to conflict. There is an ease, a flow, a natural reciprocity. And that is what keeps a man engaged. Not the feeling of being controlled, but the feeling of being drawn in by someone who radiates confidence and certainty without the need to impose it on him. When a woman operates from a place of self-trust, she does not need to manipulate a situation to get the outcome she desires. She simply allows things to unfold, knowing that her energy alone is enough to attract what is meant for her. This is the essence of true magnetism, letting go of control and replacing it with trust, because the moment control enters the picture, resistance follows. But when a woman stands in her own certainty, when she allows rather than forces, the right man will not only stay, he will be drawn to her in a way that feels effortless, natural, and undeniable. Emotional chaos is one of the most exhausting energies a person can experience. It drains, overwhelms, and disrupts the natural flow of connection. Men, by nature, are drawn to environments that bring them peace, not turmoil. When a relationship feels like a constant emotional roller coaster, full of arguments, unpredictability, and drama, it becomes something they instinctively withdraw from. Not because they don't care, but because chaos is the opposite of attraction. A relationship should be a space of calm, not a battlefield. When emotions are unstable, when reactions are extreme, and when every situation turns into a conflict, it creates a pattern that leads to emotional fatigue. Men are not built to exist in a state of constant tension. They are wired to seek solutions, to find clarity, to move forward with ease. But when they feel trapped in cycles of emotional highs and lows, they begin to see the relationship as a source of stress rather than fulfillment. And stress, over time, leads to disconnection. The truth is, emotional chaos doesn't come from the outside, it starts within. A woman who has not found inner peace will seek external validation to regulate her emotions. She will expect a man to fill the gaps within her, to be responsible for her happiness, to fix what she has not yet healed. And this creates an unspoken burden. No person, no matter how much they care, can be the foundation of someone else's emotional stability. That work must come from within. A woman who masters her emotions becomes magnetic. She does not react impulsively to every situation. She does not create unnecessary drama as a way to feel seen or heard. She understands the power of emotional intelligence, the ability to respond rather than react, to communicate instead of blame, to remain centered even when things don't go her way. This kind of presence is rare, and it is deeply attractive. It creates an environment where a man feels safe, where he can connect without fear of sudden emotional explosions, where he knows that the relationship is built on stability, not volatility. Think about the most powerful people in any area of life. They do not operate from chaos, they operate from composure. Their energy is steady, their presence is calming, and their reactions are measured. This is what keeps people drawn to them. The same principle applies to attraction. A woman who knows how to regulate her emotions, who does not allow external circumstances to control her inner state, becomes someone a man respects, admires, and stays connected to effortlessly. The key is learning to cultivate peace within. When a woman does this, she no longer looks to a man to be her emotional anchor. She becomes her own. She no longer creates unnecessary drama. She navigates challenges with wisdom and grace. And as a result, a man sees her not as a source of stress, but as a source of stability. This is the energy that keeps a man engaged, not emotional chaos, but emotional mastery, not unpredictability, but a deep, unshakable sense of self. Because in the end, men do not reject love, they reject anything that disrupts their peace. Magnetism is not about looks, words, or effort. It is about energy. A woman who is in alignment with herself does not chase, beg, or try to force love. She attracts it naturally, effortlessly. This is because attraction is not something that happens externally. It begins within. When a woman operates from a place of self-assurance, when she trusts that she is already enough, she radiates a presence that draws people in without trying. She doesn't need to prove her worth because she embodies it. And men feel that. The energy of alignment is powerful. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows who she is, who walks with certainty, who does not need validation to feel complete. This is the kind of woman who does not overextend herself, who does not settle for breadcrumbs, who does not shrink herself to be accepted. She moves with grace, with presence, with an awareness that she is already whole. And that energy is irresistible. A man may not always be able to explain why, but he is drawn to it. Just as he is repelled by the energy of desperation, he is pulled in by the energy of self-trust. On the other hand, misalignment creates an energy of struggle. It is the energy of forcing what isn't meant to be, of seeking love from a place of emptiness rather than fullness. When a woman operates from this space, she gives too much, expects too much, and holds on too tightly. And the more she does, the further the man pulls away. Not because he doesn't want love, but because love that comes from lack never feels free. It feels heavy. It feels like pressure. It feels like something that drains rather than elevates. The secret to attraction is understanding that energy speaks before words do. A woman who is aligned with herself does not need to chase, manipulate, or convince. She simply exists in a state of knowing that the right things will align with her naturally, and because of this, she moves differently. She does not demand attention, she commands it effortlessly. She does not fear being alone, she embraces her own company. She does not try to hold on to people who are uncertain about her, she lets them go with peace. And in doing so, she creates the very space that allows the right connection to find her. Men do not reject women because they are not beautiful, kind, or loving. They reject energy that does not feel stable, energy that feels like work rather than flow. But when a woman shifts into alignment, when she trusts, when she embodies her worth without seeking external proof, everything changes. She no longer needs to fight for what is meant for her because she knows that what aligns with her energy will always be drawn to her. And that is the essence of true magnetism. Not effort, not force, but alignment. Masculine and feminine energy exist in a delicate balance. When this balance is disrupted, attraction fades and connection weakens. A woman who is constantly in her masculine energy, controlling, leading, competing, and overpowering, leaves little room for a man to step into his natural role. This is not about superiority or submission. It is about harmony. Just as the sun and moon do not fight for dominance, but instead complement each other, the most powerful relationships are built when both energies flow naturally. A man thrives when he feels like a protector, when he is able to provide, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and physically. This is not because he wants to control, but because his deepest instinct is to be needed, to be valued, to have a purpose within the relationship. When a woman constantly asserts control, when she refuses to receive, when she operates from a place of excessive independence that leaves no room for interdependence, she unknowingly blocks attraction. A man does not desire a woman who needs him to complete her, but he does need to feel like he adds value to her life. When a woman leans too far into her masculine energy, she often finds herself exhausted, doing everything, leading every decision, and carrying the weight of the relationship. Over time, this dynamic drains both people. The man feels unnecessary, unappreciated, and disconnected. The woman feels overwhelmed, unsupported, and unfulfilled. This is not the natural rhythm of love. Attraction is strongest when a woman is in her feminine flow, when she trusts, allows, and creates space for the man to show up fully. This does not mean weakness. In fact, it is the opposite. True feminine energy is power, but it is a power that influences rather than controls, inspires rather than demands. A woman in her feminine energy does not chase, she attracts. She does not force outcomes, she allows them to unfold. She does not dominate, she influences. And in doing so, she awakens something deep within a man, The desire to step up, to lead, to protect, to provide. This is not about traditional roles, but about the natural dance of energy that makes attraction last. A man is drawn to a woman who radiates ease, who is confident in receiving, who understands that her presence alone is enough. This is the kind of woman he does not walk away from because he feels his highest, most powerful self when he is with her. The modern world often teaches women that they must compete with men to be valued, that vulnerability is weakness, that receiving is dependence. But the deepest truth is that feminine energy is not weak. It is magnetic. It creates, nurtures, and transforms. It is the force that inspires action without force, that brings out the best in a man without overpowering him. And when a woman embodies this, she does not lose her independence, she enhances it. She does not give up her strength, she refines it. And in doing so, she creates the kind of connection that does not fade, but deepens. A man does not reject a woman because she is strong, intelligent, or capable. He rejects the energy that makes him feel unnecessary, unwanted, or unvalued. The moment a woman embraces her feminine energy without fear, the moment she understands that her power lies in her ability to receive just as much as she gives, everything shifts. The right man does not leave a woman who knows how to create space for him to show up, who trusts his ability to lead, and who inspires him to step into his full masculine potential. Because that is the energy that not only attracts, but sustains love effortlessly.